Hey everyone, super excited. You guys asked for this, so we made it happen. You wanted to hear more about Pluto, so I'm super excited today to be speaking with Atif Yaqub. Sorry, I got that wrong. Atif Yaqub, who is one of the directors at Pluto and the founder of YOP, which is a really exciting project. So Atif, nice to be chatting with you.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks for having me on, and yeah, look forward to having a little chat and giving some insights about Pluto digital assets and maybe a little bit about YOP to your crowd.
Cool. So I think our shareholders have a good understanding of how Argo came to be an investor in Pluto, because we've kind of told that story, or I've told that story a bunch of times. But can you tell us a little bit more about the vision for Pluto and where it is today and where it's going?
Yeah, sure. So I've been in the space for 4 or 5 years now, in the crypto space, and I've worked with many investment companies, VCs. I've worked with many projects. I've recently founded my own project. So, and through that experience, there's been a really big gap in the kind of venture space within the crypto industry, because you either have very focused crypto VCs are kind of closed and only operating within the crypto world. They don't really have access to outside capital or outside investors, or you have these kind of formal, much larger VCs that operate very much like a traditional VC, and they're kind of one step disconnected from the actual community or on the ground what's going on. So Pluto digital assets really came about with kind of 4 of us at the beginning, looking at a strategy where we have 2 individuals with VC background and 2 individuals that are kind of right on ground zero in the crypto space. We're I'm a founder. Andy's been investing himself. He's been involved in projects, and then Barry and Brian have been have got that years of experience from venture capital coming in. And then alongside that, at the launch, we wanted to see who would be a great fit for kind of our anchor investor, right? So somebody who's maybe closely associated to the crypto space, but brings that value of crypto, but at the same time has performed very well in the traditional world. And that's where I guess Argo came in and was like literally the perfect fit for us to start with. So yeah, Pluto is aiming to be an investment company and venture company which sits both within the traditional world and the crypto world, and we kind of create this bridge to allow traditional capital to flow in, and the crypto economy to benefit from the years of experience that traditional investors and these financial institutes have. So they have an appetite to come in. We're kind of facilitating that, and we just want to kind of create that bridge. We have the access, we have the experience, and I think we can start to create new types of ventures from that.
I think it makes a lot of sense, Atif, particularly because these 2 worlds are kind of missing each other. And there's also a level of expertise that people like yourself have in, and when you say crypto, I think we should be a little bit clearer that it's not just crypto, but it's a particular type of emerging, innovative projects within the crypto space. So can you just tell us a little bit about some of the kind of innovative projects? You're a founder of YOP, which has done incredibly well since it launched. You guys are looking at other projects. You've invested in some other projects just in the last couple of weeks and days. So there's just a tremendous amount of energy and excitement in a space that is beyond just Bitcoin and Ethereum and buying coins on Binance. This is a kind of a new, exciting, emerging crypto space.
Yeah, so like you said, there's an entire kind of different industry that's kind of sat below the major caps that everybody knows about. So everybody knows kind of generally what Bitcoin is today. They understand it. We've seen huge institutional adoption, kind of the tail end of last year and beginning of this year. But taking that ethos of decentralized networks and really building applications on them that now work and function. A few years back, there was a big kind of like noise and excitement about blockchain, crypto, what the possibilities are. But I think we was a little bit early then. So there was a lot of kind of, it was more speculation based. I would say that, that there's a possibility this technology could disrupt. What we're seeing now is real technology being built, decentralized applications actually being used with a high amount of volume. I mean, a prime example of this is Uniswap. It's a decentralized exchange, which is completely permissionless, no custody of your funds. And, on the tail end of last year, as kind of it grew, on some days it was having higher volume than Coinbase, which is kind of considered as a circa $30 billion company that's about to have an IPO. So and this is created by an individual, not with a huge team. Actually he's from Canada, so your neck of the woods. But yeah, he created this decentralized application and launched it, and on the back of that, there's been lots of more innovation, and it's kind of been driving the DeFi space, which is what we say decentralized finance. And these are just akin to similar financial products found in the traditional world, but they're all permissionless, and they're all operating on smart contracts, which allow users to go in and out, deposit their tokens, earn yield on these tokens, and really participate in a market which is global, is 24/7, and is permissionless. And people really start to appreciate now that there's no centralized control. There's no one single person running the crypto industry, running the kind of like, this technology. You're free to take your tokens from one contract to another contract. You're free to take your tokens and hold them offline in your own hardware wallet where nobody can access them. So these kind of benefits of the technology are starting to kind of come to fruition, and we're seeing a huge demand now from centralized, traditional finance, looking at this DeFi space and saying, hey, this is really interesting, token models here you have. This is really interesting technology. Can we have a play with this, and can we utilize this? And I think that's where you start to see this bridge and this, kind of a flow of capital coming both ways now, because people have understood that these products, they actually work now. We have users, we have infrastructure. So yeah, like kind of below the Bitcoin, Ethereum giants, there's a whole world of development going on, and these have kind of grown exponentially. If I give you an idea, total locked value in the DeFi space in deposited, tokens, last year was around, it started off around 600 million. It grew rapidly through the summer. It went to like 13, 14 billion, 15 billion. Today we're at over $40 billion of locked value. That's a tremendous amount of capital now being, kind of held in decentralized in contracts where nobody's controlling these contracts. So it's really exciting. We're building, myself, I'm the founder of Yop. We're building applications for, to allow people to access these markets in an easier manner. It is still quite technical. People do sometimes get a little bit confused about the wording, and how do they connect their wallets to these contracts, and how do they engage with these DeFi applications. But we're making a big kind of effort to make it easier for the novice user and the expert alike to have the kind of engagement with this market on their mobile phone and on their applications. So there is a big drive to make it easier. And with Pluto, we just want to find these projects and these protocols and networks that will have a huge amount of value in this current cycle that we're in, because they have real use cases. So we're betting on the technology, which is the next phase of the infrastructure in this phase that we're in at the moment.
What you said, Atif, about, I mean, I remember, in 2017, 2018, everyone talking about how blockchain was going to revolutionize the world and change finance, and it was all very theoretical. And what was exciting about last year was that it went from, and I think people, like Sebastian on our team, I know who you've spoken to. He's been saying for a while, 2020 is DeFi, 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 and he's been looking at all these projects that have been gaining steam and talking about, like, going from $1 billion at the start of the year in assets, and then to where it is now, like 40 times that. So I think it's an exciting time that there's that transition that's happening, or that kind of momentum that's happening, and yet it's still, not it's not hit the mainstream or anywhere close to the mainstream of crypto, even of the crypto space. Like there's still lots of folks who are learning about it, through conversations with people like you and projects like you're working on. So that's cool. And I agree, it can be confusing. Like there is a need for sure for platforms like Yop that make it more straightforward, because it's not always totally intuitive to how it works. I mean, Bitcoin, people get it. It's like, I buy Bitcoin, I hold it, it goes up, I sell it, or whatever. Although I would never recommend selling Bitcoin. But it's there's still a lot of education to be done in this space.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's also important. I think from Pluto's perspective, and I think we can work together on this with Argo as well. Is about educating your shareholders and the wider community that's interested in this space, that there is kind of a lot more to the industry than Bitcoin. I'm definitely still one of the individuals that holds vehemently onto my Bitcoin. It's something that it brought me into this industry, so I kind of respect my Bitcoin a lot, and I still think I'm still, to be honest, the basics of Bitcoin still excite me so much. Sometimes it's an incredible technology. You can talk about Bitcoin for hours on end still and not do it justice to how incredible the technology is. And I think to understand that, you have to look at what's beyond Bitcoin to see what Bitcoin has actually done, right? Because this is all kind of on the back of one single innovation that's happened, be it a huge one now that we've realized, but it's opened up the doors to all of these technologies that we're now investing in and now we're engaging, and we see this education process. And I think this is important for Pluto as a venture company and an investment company working in this industry, to educate participants and to kind of make it easier for them to also understand and give them exposure via these vehicles, to understand what's really going on behind Bitcoin. Where's this really going to? Where does this end? Where do we go in 5 years, in 10 years? Where does this technology really go? And you can see that the kind of the traditional economy is primed for disruption, because it's kind of just lagged with innovation over the years. And beyond that, even individually, I think people just want more control over their finances, over their voices, over their data, and this technology touches on all of these areas.
Yeah, and I think people are also tired of these middlemen who, winner, whether the market goes up or down, they all do very well. And whether that's the banks or the whatever, all of the kind of traditional financial system infrastructure that's been built, that really has not improved the lives of everyday people. So I think you're right. I think there's a revolution going on in finance, and it's being led by blockchain projects, which is awesome. Can you talk a little bit more? I mean, Pluto doesn't just do DeFi. You're also looking at staking projects and Web 3.0. Can you talk a little bit about some of the other kind of projects that you guys are looking at in the space?
Yeah, sure. So like I said, we're not just focused on DeFi, we're focused on emerging technologies within the area. So that is actually kind of quite a broad range. DeFi is leading the charge at the moment, but this spills over into NFTs. It spills into decentralized protocols that like exchanges and things like that. Oracle services. We had a successful launch recently with Umbrella Network. So there's different types of layers within the economy at the moment that we're looking into, and one of those is the transition at the moment from proof of work networks to proof of stake networks. So we've seen a big drive on that. Even Ethereum, as the largest smart contract network within the space, is now transitioning to proof of stake. And so we see that as a really interesting project transition. And behind that is Polkadot, which is another kind of it's almost a challenger network, but it's not directly challenging Ethereum. So it's really interesting. Now we're starting. A few years back, we saw a lot of challenges coming up in the network saying that, this network's really slow. We're going to challenge it and build a better one, and we're going to do this. What we're seeing with the Polkadot approach is this network is slow. What we're going to do is build a better network, but we're going to support it by opening up bridges and having, what we say in the crypto space, interoperability from one network to the other. So we're very, very interested in the technology that allows this interoperability, because we see this will create a larger connected token economy rather than being just, your Bitcoin sits here and it doesn't do anything. Your Ethereum sits here and it doesn't do anything. We need, bridges and technology that allows the flow of these tokens from one network to the other. And then we're definitely very keen and big on staking. So holding large portions of tokens that have proof of stake networks, then we deposit these tokens and secure the network and support the network that, in turn, that we're kind of very bullish and have a positive outlook on. It makes sense for Pluto as an investment company to hold large, portions of these tokens in Ethereum, in Polkadot, in Kusama, in other networks. And we're also seeing a transition from, rather than purchasing these tokens, there are new reward mechanisms where you stake these tokens and you earn new tokens on networks and projects emerging on these networks. So there's a whole transition and kind of revolution going on the way even tokens are launched. Everybody's still kind of pushing for more decentralization, more kind of encompassing and inclusive for as broad of an audience as possible. And that's one of the beauties of DeFi. It goes from somebody holding, $50 to $50,000, and it's a level playing field suddenly. Right. You're no longer in the legacy system where, you only have access because you're an, XYZ type of investor, and, you're going to be given privileges to earn money. Whereas if you're a small guy, sorry, you can't make no money from your capital because you're a small guy. So yeah, that's changing, and I'm really kind of glad that's kind of happening, and we're assisting kind of that kind of revolution in change and in wealth creation.
Awesome, which is important. It's a significant change. In terms of the future for Pluto, there's been talk about pursuing a listing. Can you talk a little bit about how down the road public markets may or may not come into the project?
Yeah, so it's been kind of on the cards from day one, and we're exploring it. Like we have, our team is very, very capable and experienced in this area, so we understand the markets. We understand how the London markets work and how how to take a vehicle public. So we're working on that already. We've made a huge amount of progress. Just where we kind of launched. We've deployed capital. We've seen our net asset value kind of grow aggressively over the past few weeks, and I think we will continue to see that happen, and more investors kind of come in and join. And as we kind of do our subsequent fundraisers and rounds that are kind of opening up now, and then eventually we do see Pluto in some shape or form ending up on a public exchange to create that liquidity for our investors, so that they can have their exposure and they can come in and out of their investments. So that is the goal, and we're working on it. So we'll keep you guys posted as soon as there's some progress on that side.
And I love the idea of obviously we're a publicly traded company, and it's been great for our ability to raise money, to tell the story, to share the ability of people to buy Bitcoin and put it, or buy a proxy to Bitcoin, or buy a company that's involved in the crypto space and put it in their ISA, or have it as a part of their investment portfolio instead of having to hold Bitcoin. I mean, you can do both. I of course do both. I hold I hold Argo shares, I hold some other crypto type shares, and then also I have Bitcoin. But so it's not one or the other. And for this kind of for an opportunity to get exposure to a project like YOP, which many people who are operating in more traditional markets would never get an opportunity to be exposed to. I think it's a great opportunity. Anything else,
Yeah.
Atif, that you want to add? I think you've given us a good overview of of the idea and where it's going. Anything else you want to throw in?
Yeah. I think the last thing I would touch on that is that Pluto is giving exposure to, I think, investors to beyond Bitcoin. That element that we discussed in the beginning part of the conversation. I think that's our exciting kind of value proposition to people coming into the space. That if you want exposure to Bitcoin, there are many avenues open to you now. Maybe you could buy some Tesla shares, but the direct kind of the space behind it, that the underlying technology, that new technology and innovation that's driving this space, that's where Pluto's sat. So we're all the way from holding Bitcoin, because we definitely have to have Bitcoin in our portfolio, but all the way down through the other kind of technologies and exposure to the likes of YOP and other projects. So yeah, I look forward to probably coming back and having another update with you once things are progressing. As you know, and as your shareholders may know, that this is a super fast moving space. So things happen very fast. So probably by the next time you hear us, who knows where we are. But yeah, exciting things. And yeah, thanks for having us on.
Awesome. Thanks, Atif. And I would just confirm and add that's the whole reason for Argo to be involved with Pluto is to have that same kind of exposure to this I generally break it into like the proof of work and proof of stake kind of dichotomy. DeFi is not exactly proof of stake, but it's it's a whole other side of crypto that is emerging, that is exciting, that is going to be around for a long time, and we're excited to be part of it, and great to be part of the Pluto project.
Great. Thanks. Thank you very much.